Hello and welcome everyone. Today I am doing a video that I've been wanting to do for a while now, comparing these two products side by side. This is the Tim Holtz Stamp Platform and the Tim Holtz Travel Stamp Platform. They're both very similar products. Everything is identical except for the size. And so we're going to go through and kind of talk about what's the same with everything and what's different, and my opinion of which one works better for me. And hopefully that will help anyone who's trying to decide which one of these they should buy. I know there's a lot of other stamp platforms on the market. I don't have any of those platforms, I just have the Tim Holtz ones, so I'm only going to be speaking about these specific stamp platforms. But if you are looking to compare these stamp platforms to other ones, I know there's a lot of good videos out there. Ones that I used initially when I was trying to decide which stamp platform I wanted to purchase. And at that time, this one did not even exist. So I have not really used this one. I think I used it once since I got it. So we're going to go through and kind of compare both of these today. So just to start out, you'll see that these are in cases right now. You can buy these cases. I put the tassels on. They don't come with these tassels. Obviously, they kind of don't match, but I wanted to make them kind of fit in more with all the stuff I have in my studio, so I just added those. So let's open them up and show the actual platforms side by side. So there's that one. There's that one. So just from looking at them next to each other, they're basically identical. This is just a tiny version of this one. And actually they're not, it's not a very drastic difference. This one is kind of a standard size in the first place. It's not huge. And then this one is just a couple inches smaller on that side. And let's stack them and just kind of see. When you look at them like this, it's not really a huge size difference, but I think it's going to make a big difference with the usability. So if you're not familiar with this platform at all, let's just run through the basics. This is for clear stamps and rubber stamps. There's a piece that comes off here, and you can see they're labeled clear and rubber on each side. Both of the platforms have that. And then this piece here is actually a molded grid, so you don't have any etchings that ink will get in and stay in. You can still feel the grid on here, but it's really easy to clean, and as opposed to anything that has like etched lines in it. I have a few stamp blocks that have etched lines, and there's just no getting the ink out of those. So the difference is whatever stamp you're using, there's a difference in thickness for each side. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to that. If you're stamping and you're not getting a clear image, or it's kind of patchy, or you feel like you're pressing a lot and it's, you know, maybe it's making a weird noise, just make sure that you have it on the right side for the stamp that you're using. And then that just easily fits back into there, and it's on a little hinge. Each one comes with 2 of these magnets. I have a third one that I added just for extra support. These magnets, very important, you don't want them to touch each other. They're very strong, and if they snap together, they can shatter. So you always want to keep those away from each other, different sides of your stamp platform. That, I guess, is a little bit trickier with the smaller surface, but it's still doable. Then they both have this ruler that is really easy to see. It's a black ruler with the little numbers etched in white. It's actually a brighter one on here. I can see now if you're looking at them. This one is much easier to read than this one. So if you have a hard time seeing small things, this one might actually be better for you because it's easier to see the numbers. And they do have inches and centimeters. So that is really helpful for everybody. Let's see what else here. The other nice thing about this is that one side is open, and I see that it is like that on both of these. So when you're putting your paper in, if you have a very large paper, you can have it come off the side and it's not going to get creased or pinched or anything like that. Use this to illustrate here. So this one, you can see that it fits perfectly on here already, but if I were to take it over to my smaller platform, it's going to run off the edge. But that's okay, I can still take this and close it and push down on it, and it hasn't affected my paper at all. So this is really good if you are a scrapbooker and you need a 12 by 12 layout to be able to fit in here. This is 8.5 by 8.5 square here. So even if you're just using a full sheet of 8.5 by 11, it's going to run off the edge. But you can easily accommodate it. You may have to rotate your paper and do it upside down, and just put your stamp upside down to be able to accommodate that. But it's really nice if you work on large scale projects. I don't, however, and that is why I was really interested when this little travel stamp platform was announced, because I have had trouble with my work surface, the amount of surface that I leave myself. Usually, and maybe this is the case for the rest of you too, my stuff just steadily encroaches and I can kind of clear a small space to work every day. That has been an issue with this guy because you need to be able to open it all the way, and even right now, off camera, I'm running into things when I open my platform. And usually there's some stack of something on my desk, so I can't fully lay this down when I'm going to do my inking over here. So it's just been a little bit of an issue for me trying to find a way to fit it on my desk. And this little guy fits much easier. I can open it all the way up, and I'm not hitting anything over here. It's really easy for me to just move it around and find a small space to work in with this guy. I also mostly do cards. So let's just grab, this is an A2 size card piece. And you can see it easily fits within these parameters here. I can fit all my stamping on here. I could even, put it in the center and have some runoff on the edges here, and it's totally fine. Whereas with this guy, once again, I can barely open it. There's like way more space than I need. It's kind of excessive how much space. Even if I was doing a folded card here, like the whole card doesn't need to be on here. The folded part can hang off. So this, for me, just has been kind of too much. I kind of don't want to use it as much because I feel like I don't have the space to really pull it out and use it. Whereas with this little guy, I feel like it's so much easier to just grab it and get it out and do small things. Even if I'm stamping on like something even smaller than a card, just like a little die cut or something, it's going to fit in here very easily, and this is going to fit on my desk much more easily. So that is just sort of the basics from looking at these, but let's get out some stamps and really talk about that comparison. So I've got a couple of stamp sets here. I've got a Pinkfresh Studio stamp set, Playful Animal Friends. This one has a lot of teeny tiny pieces in it. And then I got out this one over here. This is one of my larger stamps. This Concord and 9th, this floral stamp here is one of my larger ones. So I just want to kind of see the comparison between stamp sizes on these platforms. So let's start with the little one. I'm just going to grab a rabbit stamp off of here. He's pretty small. So you can see over here, it might be a little bit hard to see. So I'm just going to lay him down here. Stick that up. Put this down down so you can kind of see a little bit better. So this little guy here, there's plenty of room for me to place him on here, and he fits nicely onto this. And it doesn't seem like overkill to me for having that little stamp on there. But pulling out this guy, I feel like this is just, it's way more than I need just to stamp one tiny thing like that. I mean, if I'm going to do a ton of something, that's when I'm going to reach for this. Or if I want to make sure that I can get good coverage, maybe it's a new stamp and it's not stamping totally clear on the first couple of goes. It's really nice to have this so that I can just keep stamping and try to get that clear impression. But this is a lot of work surface to just be doing one tiny little stamp on. Let's take that off there. And you'll notice that both of my platforms, I have them flipped to the clear side. When the word is up and you can read it, that is when you can use those type of stamps. So right now I can use the clear stamps because I can read the word clear. If I was going to switch to rubber cling mounted stamps, I would need to flip this around so that I could read the word rubber. So let's set that there. And then let's look at my larger stamp here and just talk about how that fits in here. I have not used this one, so it's really stuck on here. So this size would be great working on here. There's plenty of room for me to put this stamp in this platform, but I want to see if the small platform can still accommodate such a large stamp. So let's see here. I would probably want to have a slightly larger piece of paper, but it still does fit on this one. The only problem is that I don't really have a lot of room for my magnets when I'm working on this tiny size of paper, so I would probably go up to something just a little bit bigger. Those magnets in separate corners, so then I could put this where I'd like it. Get that stuck down there. Stuck down there. I could even move this here. Right, so even though this is smaller, I can still very easily fit this nice big stamp on here. So let's ink it up and see what it looks like here. I'll shift this down so you can see the inking process. I kind of always just go for the black ink when I'm stamping. This is what I use the most. I really like that crisp, clean black image. I like to color things in. So I'm just going to get this all inked up, and hopefully I've gotten everything. It's pretty easy when you're using a stamp that's nice and clean for the first time to see where you're inking, but once I get this stained with my black ink, it's going to be a little harder to see next time. All right, so I'm just going to put that down. Make sure you've got even pressure. Lift it up, and I can even go again with some ink just to make it really nice and bold. I'm not moving my paper, so it's going to stay in the same place. I could even stand up and push down on this really hard, but there's not as much surface that you need to cover to push down on when you're using the small one, so that's nice. I feel like I can get a really nice even pressure. Got a couple spots I can see I didn't quite push down on. Maybe I need just a little more ink in that area. That's better. I'm going to stand up. Alright, pretty good. And then I did, when I inked it up, I did get that edge there, so it made ink on my paper here. So that is something that you definitely have to watch out for more with this small one. I think with the larger one, you're not going to run into that area as much because you've got so much extra space that you're not going to be inking near that. But on this one, it's really close to that area if you're doing a large stamp. So that's something that I will have to watch out for. But I got this nice crisp image here. I can color in later. Or this stamp set actually has these little kind of halftone watercolor-like stamps that you can go in and color your flower with. And that is where the platform really comes in handy too, because you can go in and really carefully line everything up and then do it multiple times. Okay, so let's put this aside. So overall, so far, I think I really prefer the feeling of using this one. It's really nice. It just feels easier to do. It's smaller. It fits on my desk nicely. It's easy to pack away somewhere. But essentially, they're really both not that different. You really just have to think about how you work. If you're going to be working on smaller projects, you don't need that much space. If you have a smaller desk area, you probably want to get a smaller one. But if you have the room to work and you think you might want to work on bigger projects at some point, then why not go for this one? The other thing to think about with these is that the larger one, let me get the stamp off of here, out of the way. Just put this in here for now. All right, so the larger platform retails for $39.99, and the travel stamp platform retails for $34.99. So that's really not that big of a difference. So you may be shopping and thinking, well, for $5 more, I can get more surface area and get a bigger tool, and that's really not that big of a price difference. However, what is $5 more when it comes to like what's actually going to work for you? So, if smaller stuff is what you're going to be working on, I really feel like this one is really simple and easy to do. So this one, you might as well just save $5 and get the travel one. But if you do a lot of stamping, maybe you want to have one stamp platform that travels and one that just sits on your desk. It's really up to you. This is just my opinion for what works for my style. I definitely am liking this one over this guy. Like I said in the beginning, I have not used any other stamp platforms. I really like this one. I know there's the Misty, which I think has multiple sizes, and there's a new one from We Are Memory Keepers, I want to say, like the Precision Stamp Press or something. I haven't tried any of those. They're very similar. I think the Misty is definitely very similar. The Precision Stamp Press, I think you just go up and down. It doesn't have the hinge, which is just a different style. Maybe that might be better for some people. It's really just depends on what you're looking for. So there's a lot of other videos out there if you want to look at side-by-side comparisons of different products. But for now, I've only used this product, and of the two, this is definitely my pick for the easiest to use. I hope that has been a little bit helpful if any of you were trying to decide what to do. For me, when I go shopping, it is really hard for me to try to decide sometimes on very similar products that don't have a very big price point difference. But I definitely think this is the one that I'm going to be using more from now on. I also like, now I'm just noticing this, I didn't notice this before, the way that the bottom is on the travel platform. It's actually a little bit easier to use because this one, if you're stamping rubber fling mounted stamps, you're going to be facing this way, and this hangs off the edge, which is fantastic. It's really easy for you to grab and open and close. And when you're using the clear stamps and have it flipped this way, it doesn't hang over. It overlaps completely with this, which looks nice from a aesthetic standpoint, but it's just like, I don't know, it's a little bit trickier to grab. You gotta just grab over here from this corner, whereas this one, no matter which way you flip it, it's in the middle of that indentation, so it's always sticking over the platform, and you can easily grab it and move it up and down. That's just a little thing, but it's something that I just now am noticing, and that's really nice. So not a ton of differences, very subtle ones, really, but I hope that this helps you guys, and if there's other things that you guys want to hear about from me, let me know. I can do some more side-by-side comparisons of products, or more demos and things like that in the future, but this one for now, I just really wanted to kind of do this side-by-side comparison. So that's all I have for today. Come back for the next video.